everyone, it's David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, and I'm checking in today with another Travel Tip Tuesday video for your next trip to Disney World. Today, I'm going to focus on the 2019 Epcot Food and Wine Festival, with some handy tips that will surely make your day at the event even more magical. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe down below so that you never miss my reviews, tips, and more from the parks here in Central Florida. But let's not waste any more time and jump right in to today's video. Now, first and foremost, before any Epcot festival, I always study my menus and set a budget. Eating and drinking around the world can add up quickly. In some cases, it can work out to cost the same amount as enjoying a table service meal at the end of your day, along with a quick lunch somewhere. But after visiting for a couple of years, I've learned to budget myself between $50 and $75 to spend throughout the day at the festival. Now, this normally doesn't include breakfast, but that amount easily gets me through the rest of the day when it comes to the food. And it allows me to enjoy a good variety of dishes as well. Now, if you plan to drink a lot, you can easily kick that up to $100, if not more. But I personally don't drink a lot anymore inside the parks. So if you're a newbie and you want a nice even round number, that should get you started. Of course, an even better thing to do is to look at all of the menus before you arrive and see what catches your eye, and set your budget from there. If you need some help, head on over to beyondthekingdoms.com, where you can download my pocket guide that comes with all of the menus and pricing. Like my Halloween party tips video this year, I am striving to find some new tricks and tips while attending Food and Wine, specifically ones that I haven't talked about before. But there is always one or two key tips that I must always bring up because I think they are very crucial. Any trip to Epcot, especially during Food and Wine, is best experienced over the course of 2 days. Not 2 full rope drop to park closed days, but 2 medium-sized days that will be full of fun but at a nice pace. And in the case of Food and Wine, you want to split up the 30 marketplace booths up logically with how you plan on touring the park itself. I personally stick to a Future World Day and a World Showcase Day. If you're going to do the same thing, about half of the Food and Wine booths are located in Future World West, which is behind what used to be Club Cool, and Showcase Plaza at the front of the lagoon. And naturally, the rest of the booths are evenly scattered between the 11 World Showcase pavilions. Now, some people like to divide the park up in different ways, and that can work too, but I have another tip that will save your feet if you're doing this. Don't forget to use those friendship boats. If I can only squeeze in one day at Epcot Food and Wine, I stick to my highlights. I make sure I hit rides like Soarin' and Spaceship Earth, and start touring the countries by lunchtime. Now, more often than not, I tend to end my single day at the festival in one of 3 countries: Japan, Morocco, or France. It's the magical corner of World Showcase, in my opinion. When I do this, I want to make sure I tour the entire lagoon and end my day at the back corner of the park. So I take a friendship boat from Showcase Plaza to Morocco at midday, and I actually start touring the countries clockwise from here. It gives me 2 chances to pass Showcase Plaza, where some of my favorite booths are located. So I may hit a booth like Australia after visiting Future World, get on a boat to Morocco, and start working the countries from France, UK, and so on, making sure I walk off some food before hitting booths at the front of the lagoon again, such as Thailand. My point is, think outside the box. Use transportation methods to help move you through the park in a smart way that will minimize endless walking. Alright, my next 2 tips focus on those attending the festival with one of the Disney dining plans. We all know that understanding the plan and debating whether or not it's worth your money is a big topic. But if you do decide to use it, Food and Wine is a great place to use those snack credits, because almost all of the food items are eligible. First of all, always remember that $5 is the magic number. Using a snack credit on any dish over $5 means you're really making good use of the plan and saving some money. But of course, just because something is expensive doesn't mean it is huge. A great example of this is the filet mignon in Canada. It's definitely one of my favorite dishes, but it's on the small side for the $8.25 price tag. It is a great use of a snack credit from a financial standpoint, and it is delicious. Just don't expect it to fill you up too much. And I also find that the opposite can be said with Food and Wine desserts. At first glance, these tend to appear as a bad use of a snack credit because they tend to be priced around $4. However, items like the hazelnut cake in Italy at $4.25 are a nice hefty size. And even though it doesn't surpass that $5 mark, I think it's still a good use of a snack credit because it's big and delicious. Don't worry, I will talk about this dish more in a future Foodie Friday video. My point is, start with the fact that a dish over $5 is your base point. But look at both the size and price when determining if it's a good use of a snack credit. Now, my second dining plan can be a little bit tricky. I have both heard and experienced a big range of situations with this one, but it's still worth mentioning. Technically, you are allowed to split one quick service meal credit into 3 snacks, which can work out really well during Food and Wine because I enjoy eating at the booth instead of going to a quick lunch somewhere. But there is a catch, several in fact. First of all, I believe that the official rule is that this can only be done at quick service restaurants, not snack carts. Think of ice cream or popcorn stands. However, sometimes I've seen booths at the festivals allow the split to happen, but there's no real consistency. I've been able to do it successfully myself in some locations, to then be told elsewhere that it's not possible. Secondly, when you do this, all 3 snack credits must be redeemed in one location in one transaction. So you can't go to Shimmering Sips, let's say, split a quick service credit into 3 snacks, use one for the strawberry cone, and then jump on over to the Alps to use the remaining 2. All 3 snack credits have got to be used in one place. So I want to highlight some booths that I think have strong menus and worth using 3 snack credits at. First of all, Flavors from Fire is perhaps the best booth because it actually has 4 strong menu items. The same can be said over at Shimmering Sips now, also at Hawaii, Thailand, and Hops and Barley in America. Italy is debatable because it is a longer menu than most and a little bit more expensive. But there are much more exciting dishes elsewhere. But Italy does have some good safe choices here. And of course, all of this depends on your specific preferences. But look at these menus first. They are really strong. And I would say definitely avoid places like Canada or the Chocolate Studio with splitting snack credits because these places only have 2 food items on the menu, so you will be left short unless you get 2 of the same thing. And like I said, be prepared for cast members to say that you can't do this because I've seen mixed experiences on this. Let's now shuffle over to the topic of alcoholic beverages. Like I said, I don't drink a lot at Epcot anymore because it gets way too hot and really expensive. But I know that this is a popular thing, so here you go. First, remember that none of the alcohol beverages at the marketplace booths count as snack credits. In fact, they can't be redeemed for anything on the dining plan. You can only get alcohol with meal credits when you order an entree and such at the restaurants. Some non-alcoholic drinks do count as snack credits, and those can be pretty good. But before you jump into getting that wine flight, check 2 things: the price and what beverage offerings are already offered year-round in the specific country you're visiting. Because you may be able to get a larger drink for a better price. The best example I can give is over in Germany. I do love Brewer's Collection because I can sample a nice refreshing beer flight here. It's priced at $9.75 and a good deal when you consider that individually they're priced at $4.50. Now, the beers in the flight are slightly smaller, but the price is still good in my book, and I like to try several different flavors. However, you can get much larger beers in Germany at several beer carts. Yes, the price is double at $9, but the size is way more than double. I also prefer to enjoy a glass of wine at places like Tutto Gusto in Italy, much more than the little wines you get at the booth. So, like I always say, make sure you check your options. And please remember to drink responsibly. Remember that there's lots of kids around, and that takes me to tip number 7. If any of you are participating in Remy's Hide and Squeak this year and having a little bit of trouble finding the little chef, always check indoor locations throughout the park. It seems that for 2019, none of the hidden Remy locations are outside. I won't give all of the secrets away, but when in doubt, inside is always a good place to look. And check places that naturally tie into the theme of the event. I have found Remy hiding in several wine bars, for example, throughout World Showcase. Now, sticking to kids, we've also seen a character shuffle around Epcot at the start of Food and Wine. thanks to a heavy amount of construction going on in Future World. Back on September 8th, the Epcot character spot closed forever, and Mickey, Goofy, and Minnie moved around the corner to what used to be Innoventions West. This is where Ralph and Vanellope were meeting before moving into the Imagination Pavilion. There is no doubt in my mind that this will change once again when Disney moves to the next stage of demolition in this area, but right now the trio can be found here, and Fastpass Plus is no longer available. It is standby only. Baymax, Joy, and Sadness are still in their locations in Future World, as is Daisy in Showcase Plaza and Donald in Mexico. All of the other princesses in World Showcase have remained unchanged, and Winnie the Pooh has returned to the UK Pavilion. The main tip here is to keep checking the My Disney Experience app, specifically at those Future World locations, because this will no doubt change again in the near future. Now, also due to construction projects, merchandise is another tip to keep in mind. Because of the absence of a full festival center this year, the best one-stop shop for all the food and wine merch is at the Port of Entry store. This is at the front of World Showcase Plaza. Yes, you can see select items in Mouse Gear and a few other marketplaces around World Showcase, but Port of Entry is where you will really see the full range of products. So if that's important to you, make a stop here. And finally, we get to tip number 10. I always like to end by talking about fireworks viewing with my travel tips. But I want to highlight something a little bit different this time. In the past, I've mentioned plenty of good restaurants in World Showcase that come with a great view of fireworks, and several alternative spots for viewing, like in Italy and the France Pavilion. However, since we will very soon see the end of Illuminations forever, fireworks became a big priority for me this year. And I recently watched the show in the Fastpass viewing area for the first time in a long while. Now, I only recommend booking this if you do 2 days at Epcot, because the fireworks are in Tier 1, just like Soarin' and Test Track. But if you do this on your World Showcase day, here's an extra viewing tip. The pavement area for this reserved viewing area slopes up slightly at the back, meaning being at the very front of the section is not really a good spot. There may be no one in front of you, but a large iron fence is definitely in the way. If you are further back and up that slope a little bit, you'll get a much better view over some people's heads and that fence. It's a minor detail, but a helpful one, especially if you want to get some good pictures and video of the fireworks. And remember that Epcot Forever debuts on October 1st, 2019. So there you have it, friends, my top 10 tips to know before attending this year's Food and Wine Festival at Epcot. If you missed it, make sure you check out my full guide to the event this year, review, and some Foodie Friday videos. Now later this week, I will return with a food review from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge over at Hollywood Studios. And we'll return to Epcot for this Sunday's main show, a special mini episode looking at the history of Test Track and the world of motion. You won't want to miss it. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.